I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, October the 30th, brought to you in part by the NationalBeefWire.com. Log on to NationalBeefWire.com. You can find this report there every day. You can find tons of market news information every day, tons of real-time feeder cattle quotes. Today we are spotlighting Hub City Livestock in Aberdeen, South Dakota. You can check them out on their channel, which is 6022. You can also watch that sale live and bid on there too if you'd like to through dvauction.com. But you can find all that at nationalbeefwire.com. Real meat is up and fake meat is down. You guys grab your tissues if you would, and I know this is going to upset you a lot, but Beyond Meat, which had the initial public offering back earlier this summer, and they started out at $25 a share, and then it just ballooned and got as high in late June. It was almost $235 on the close. Just the biggest IPO that we've had in recent memory, and it's pretty much gone straight down ever since then. A lot of your consultants were on there telling people that there's nothing to it. They need to get rid of it as quick as they can. It's just all a big cloud. It's a big fake mirage there, and that's what it is. And we've seen it go down considerably here just ever since it peaked, and then it's gone down a whole lot more. In October only, the share price has gone down 45%. On Tuesday, it was down 20% this week. So, I mean, it's really fallen out a bit bad. But on Tuesday, the lockup period ended, which is the insiders have to hold on to their shares for so many days. And the lockup period ended on Tuesday. So that meant that they could puke their shares, which were still up, 4 times what they were whenever they made the initial offering. But they released like 75% of the outstanding stocks that were available to sell. So that was the big, pressure that we saw on that stock price on Tuesday. But still, it's down to like $84 now, and had gotten down lower than that earlier in the day on Tuesday, but from $235 just in late June. But maybe that whole fake meat deal is not quite as cool as everybody thought it was on Wall Street, and not quite as cool to the yuppie crowd as what they thought. And the air is starting to come out of it a little bit, and we're glad to see that. Even though that they had reports on Tuesday that their third quarter fiscal earnings were still better than what they expected. But they haven't really expected a whole lot. They've never really made any money in that company. They've just been spending a lot of investor money on research and development, and it is a plant-based product there, and we are seeing that offered more places. We're seeing more people talk about it, but still not sure that it's a very smart investment, even though our packers, our big 4 packers, are big investors into fake meat. They don't want to give up any of their protein share anywhere that they go. The same time that this fake meat, the Beyond Meat, which is the easiest to track because it's the only one that's publicly traded so far, but at the same time that fake meat was going down, real beef is spiking. It's just going straight up, and we might see that late in the winter, early in the spring, as we're getting ready for grilling type weather. But we're seeing it as we're going into a traditional fowl type of holiday, as we're moving towards the biggest next holiday is going to be Thanksgiving. But the purchasing for those protein products for that time of the year is happening right now. But box beef cutout values up again sharply higher on Tuesday. Choice cuts $230.55, up $2.65. You just don't see that. Selects were up $2.81 at $203.57. We still got that giant choice select spread, almost $27. But your choice cuts have just been soaring of late. up $19 in the last 3 weeks. It's like almost $17 higher than the same time a year ago. We're less than $12 away right now from the artificial collusion high that happened right after the fire. You know, they spiked it up there, and they were really reaping those huge profits, and at the same time they were, we had our cutout values up like $20 there just within 4 days of that fire at Holcomb County, or Holcomb, Kansas, at Finney County Tyson fresh meat plant there. But and then your fat cattle went down $5 in that 4-day period. But you know, that was kind of an artificial high. They were taking advantage of everything. But we're less than $12 away from that, guys, on your choice cut. So just soaring. You know, up there at the Kansas Cattlemen's Association, heard an interesting talk from Dr. Chow there at from K-State. He's a professor there, and talked a lot about the cell-cultured lab-grown meat. Not the plant-based product that your fake meats are seeing right now, but this is the other one that's cell-cultured, grown in a lab in a petri dish. And they're thinking that they can make that taste like anything. It's going to be harder for them to make that fake meat taste like real meat, especially beef, than it would be something else. You know, he was telling us, and he was pretty neutral about it too, just telling us matter of fact like. But he was saying, you know, they could make it taste like pina colada meat, or you know, cantaloupe meat, or whatever you want. It would be easier for them to do that than it would to replicate the taste of real meat. But you know, that cell-cultured lab-grown stuff, they are sinking tons of money in that, thinking that it has a better chance of actually taking off than the plant meat does. You know, the plant meat just has so much sodium in there, so much artificial stuff. You know, it's basically just a soy mash or a lentil pea mash with just a whole bunch of artificial flavors put in there, and a ton of sodium to make you trick yourself into thinking it's meat. But they're spending tons of money on this cell-cultured lab-grown meat, and the cheapest they've got it down to now is like $500 a pound for some ground beef. That's what it would cost for them to do it. They have yet to get that cell-cultured meat into a plant where they can process it more efficiently. Haven't even got there. He thinks it'll sure be 10 or 15 years before they could get that cell-cultured meat mass produced and get the price of it down where it could even get close to competing with real meat. But I'm thinking by the time that gets here, the whole fad of fake meat will really be out the door by then. And you just wonder, why are they spending so much money trying to trick themselves into thinking that product is meat? It's unbelievable. And he also noted some things that we've talked about on this program here, is that you know, the very people that think that they want that product, or that want to trick themselves into thinking that they're eating meat, all the while knowing that it's fake meat, those are the same people that do not want any GMOs in their grains, things like that. They don't want any antibiotic, they don't want any hormone. And that's basically all that cell-cultured meat is, or that cell-cultured fake meat, I should say. They have to put. We knew that they would have to do that. You're growing that stuff in a petri dish, and you're wanting cells to manufacture and split. You know, you got to have tons of antibiotics in there to keep any kind of a disease out of there that would kill the product that they're trying to grow. And they also have to put tons of growth promoting in there to try to make it grow as fast as it can. It's just unbelievable, the hypocrisy of these people trying to fool themselves and other people like them into thinking that that product is as good as real meat. You know, just don't eat the meat. If you don't want the meat, people, just don't eat it. We'll eat it. Be more for us. But they know that we need that kind of food in the diet. Another thing that the professor told us is that don't worry about them replicating a fake ribeye steak. We talked about that here before too. They cannot replicate the texture and just the flavor and everything of a steak. It's all just going to be some kind of something that makes you think that it's similar to a ground beef product. They're never going to have a real steak, a whole meat, a whole muscle meat there, because they just can't replicate it. So if you guys like to eat steaks, you like to celebrate with steaks, you like to throw them on the grill and have your friends over, celebrate a business deal, your family's birthday, just celebrate life in general with a good steak, it's going to be real steaks, guys. I'm sorry about that, but that's all you're going to be able to get because they can't replicate that. Let's talk about the board on Tuesday. Your October live cattle futures were up 47 cents at 113.35. December up 22 at 116.82. Feeder cattle futures October up 2 cents, as you see that spot October trying to get in line with your CME feeder cattle index. It's at 145.42. Either your index is going to have to come up of half a dollar or so, a little more, or that's going to have to fall back to get it right in line here as we finish up that contract. November down a quarter at 145.47. Fat cattle trade's been non-existent, negotiated in your 5-area feeding region. Few little cleanup sales, a lot of deals not even a load, but just basically 110, 175. Same thing that we were seeing last week. Stockman's livestock, Yankton, South Dakota, had another good run of slaughter cattle there. And most of your prices were on fat steers and heifers, some of them returning to feed the lighter weights, those weighing under 13. Some of those would be going back to feed as guys feel like this market's still rising and they can put some more weight on there and get it done efficiently enough to make it work. But a lot of 107.5 to 118, but mostly 110 to 114 for your fat cattle selling there at Stockman's Livestock, Yankton, South Dakota. Talked about box beef cutout values already. We don't need to go through that again. Let's talk about feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index on Cattle Market Central, 144.25, ended the day on Tuesday, up 58 cents. I'll give you several feeder cattle quotes. West Plains, Missouri, Ozarks Regional Stockyards and 3,000 head. The trend there, Dan Hill calls it, is steers $3 to $7 higher. Heifers were kind of uneven from $2 lower to $2 higher, but a good market there in West Plains, Missouri. Going to talk all about Missouri and South Dakota markets. And you're looking here at the National Beef Wire screen, and you see that it's green in the major blocks there. Everything was just a little bit higher, and including your feeder cattle futures there. But talking about Missouri and South Dakota markets, both of those states are big auction states, and they have some of the best prices that we see. Imagine that. Competitive market, auction market, best prices. But I'm going to talk all about them. That's just the way it come out on Tuesday there. The next one we'll talk about Kimball, South Dakota, Kimball Livestock Exchange there. I've got to know those people that run that market. Very, very nice people there. Going to be going up to speak to them there sometime this winter. 70 head, 871 pound steers in Kimball, South Dakota, $150.10. Wow. Lolly Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, Missouri. We've broadcasted them. They have an exotic animal sale there a few times a year. They have a big horse sale there. We've broadcasted them on DV Auction for a long time. They turned their system on Tuesday, and so we got quotes from them. But nice to get some real-time quotes from Lolly Brothers Livestock, Macon, Missouri. 71 head, 726 pound steers, $153.75. Awful good quote there. Another Missouri market that I've never talked about before, but David Cannon there, him and his family and company, they run a little sale there in Gallatin, Missouri, Gallatin Livestock Auction. And you think, Gallatin, Missouri, where'd I ever think of that place? It's up in God's country, northwest Missouri, where I spent the bulk of my adult life. And it's kind of Nebraska's corner of Missouri up there, but we don't have to root for the Huskers. We can still root for the Tigers and go Mizzou right there. But it's awful good country up there, and they got good cattle up there and a lot of good people, a lot of friends of mine up in that country. But you think, I know Gallatin, Missouri from somewhere. Yeah, Jesse James robbed the bank there in 1869. Just rode a horse up there from Kearney, Nebraska, or Kearney, Missouri. It wasn't too far long of a ride for him, so I went up there and did that. But do have a sale barn there. 78 head, black white-faced steers there. Had 3 rounds of shots, were weaned in July. I mean, top quality kind there. But a good load of them weighed 540 pounds and 168 1/4 Gallatin, Missouri. Unionville Livestock Market. If you go east from there in the north central part of the state there, those Rockin' R farms, they had another 4 loads of cattle in there. They're from Lucerne, Missouri there. And I tell you what, they've got this deal figured out on background in these steers. They buy the right kind. They don't push them too hard. Don't get them too fleshy. Just get them grown up. And the guys that are buying them and finishing them out just love them, evidently, because every time they come to market, they just top the market. And actually, the market was a little tough up there because the weather was really crappy, kind of snowy, wintry, raw, old, nasty day there. And a lot of the cattle at Unionville were a little bit cheaper due to the weather there. But the Rockin' R cattle sold fully steady. 4 loads there, 240 head. The loads averaged 860 pounds at 149. But got to talk about Philip the Giant when it's on Tuesday. Philip Livestock in Philip, South Dakota. You can watch them on DV Auction every Tuesday. And they have giant sales this time of year. And they get giant prices there. 122 head of 478 pound steer calves. Bring $185 in Philip. And look at this quote, 64 head of 840 pounders at 163. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.